I can hear your heartbeat from here. You're nervous. Well, there's no need to be. I agree her age is somewhat intimidating, which means her power is something to fear, but she wouldn't have agreed if she didn't want to. For someone who's lived this long, they can waste as much time as they please, but why would they? Spending eternity on your own terms seems to be an obligation to oneself after a time. She's likely traveled the whole world countless times, traversed through terrains that humans could seldom survive just because she could. What does an immortal being do when they've reached their ultimate prime, but there are no more rungs on the ladder to climb? What would you do? When time is no longer a cage, the world becomes a playground. Whatever musings we once had to stop our boredom change into actions. Some believe immortality and invincibility are mutually exclusive, and those idiots are now dust. What's more is they're surprised that they get attention from hunters. Their thought process is beyond me. The worst thing I've ever done. You want to get into the gritty details? Let's have a think. I don't know if you can count wiping out a whole lineage. Oh, don't look at me like that. They were all infamous vampire hunters. Every one of them. I gave each of them a chance to redeem themselves, but they didn't take it, so I offered mercy. Yes, with death. But they deserved it. Together they'd killed countless of my kind. They were also the type to maximize collateral damage as long as they caught the vampire, so they got the job done, but at the cost of others, and never themselves. It was about time I collected the debt they owed. That's why actions are subjective. People jump to conclusions because they take what they hear at face value without any initiative to dive deeper into why. That doesn't negate the severity of an act, but it at least provides a reason. Well, if I hadn't said they were hunters that used the population as meat shields, you'd think I was a cold-hearted murderer. I don't do things because I know I can. It's stupid and naive. Yes, better wording. In my eyes, the worst thing I've ever done was betray someone who put their trust in me wholeheartedly. I never intended for it to happen, but it haunts me even to this day. I don't have the heart to tell you. Ah, she's here. I'll get the door. Bear with me a moment.
Welcome. I hope the journey wasn't too dull.
Not at all. It's been some time since I visited the English countryside. There are more houses and roads than I want to remember. But still, a lot of trees. It's not fresh out here. Not that I've missed it.
And much quieter. Here, let me take your jacket.
Thank you. Xanthus, is it?
Yes. Isis, right?
You have quite a number of connections. I heard your name at least 3 times in the past month, and that piqued my interest. It's unusual for being so young to have that interest.
I think that's the first time someone's called me young and had a reason to do so.
Don't like it?
Not used to it.
Ah, my family has. It has an Italian Renaissance aesthetic. There aren't many buildings like this anymore. Not as they're preserved, at least.
I assume you've seen plenty in your time.
Yes, I have. So where is your potential part?
Right through here. If you follow me.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thank you. I won't be staying long.
This is Isis, the elder I was talking about.
It's wonderful to meet you. How long have you known each other?
I've known them longer than they've known me.
Some might consider that stalking.
Are we not hunters? It's in our nature to, just as blood is to our diet.
You're the type to counter with wit and reasoning, aren't you? Threading words in the right pattern to sow doubt in others.
Sometimes negotiation is better than action. At my core, I'm not a violent person.
So your choice of profession before you turned was a matter of negotiation, then?
What? How did you know about...
Anyway, let me have a look at you. You heal very well. I assume you've been told you heal quite fast. Am I correct? I need a sample of blood from the both of you. Just a drop.
What for?
To determine whether or not you're bonded.
And how does one tell if a bond exists?
You hate this, don't you? Not being able to understand. I expect the people you encounter are unwise, ignorant, and without intelligence. Or so it may seem to you. You think of yourself as superior?
No, I simply think
Think that humanity is beneath you, and that you know better? Let me educate you. I've met humans beyond counting, for 200 lifetimes worth. Different centuries, different places, different cultures and classes. I've retained it all. If you looked past the barriers people built to separate us and them, weak and strong, rich and poor, on and on, you'd see that at their core, our core, there is no difference. We are still driven by arrogance, hatred, greed, fear, and love. We didn't shed our humanity the moment we became vampires. It feels like you're denying it. No. I think you're afraid.
Afraid of what?
Discovering what really drives you.
A drop of blood, you said?
You have daggers lying around.
Just in case. I don't want to be caught in a precarious situation.
You expect enemies, then?
I've accumulated some over the years. It's difficult not to when we live so long. Here, my blood. I'll be quick. You won't feel a thing, okay?
Give me a moment. You feel responsible for their protection, don't you, Xanthus? More than anyone you've ever encountered. They perplex you.
Yes. And I can normally figure out things quite quickly, but this time I can't.
Sure, that irritates you. And you. To Xanthus you were afraid at first, but not anymore. You're strangely drawn to him, despite him being what he is. Despite what he's done. Your curiosity somehow wins over your logic. Do you know how bonds are formed?
I assume you're going to educate us again?
The details are unclear even for me. Bonds are rare. So rare that many vampires never find their destined ones. I've been trying to understand it, but I've only managed to gain some insight. You've fed on many people, correct?
Yes.
And have you saved any?
Yes, I have.
When?
A few hundred years ago. During the war, there was a man who I considered a true friend. He didn't know what I was, but we went through hell together. I protected him as much as I could, but during the Battle of Marston Moor, he took a bullet for me. I hadn't been a vampire for very long during that time, but the anguish I felt was like nothing I'd ever experienced. I knew that as a vampire, all senses and emotions were heightened considerably, but as a fledgling, I didn't know how to handle loss. So I gave him my blood.
And he survived.
Yes. I compelled him to remember being grazed by a bullet, and I compelled him to forget me.
Which means you must be a descendant of theirs.
What do you mean?
You know that our blood does more than just heal. It evolves in its host. When enough of it is in a human body that dies, the blood alters everything to survive at a cost. But if someone lives long enough, I believe the blood mutates and becomes one with the person. Perhaps not enough to change them into a vampire, but for it to lay dormant. And if they were to have children, it would be passed down and live in their skin.
So, I made the bond.
From my experience of finding other bonded partners, yes. Over the years, I've refined my palate for almost everything. Vampires and human taste different, of course, but there are similarities between the two of you that is undoubtedly the bond.
Then why has it only happened now?
My theory is that when you fed on them the first time, it linked you. Your compulsion doesn't work on them, does it?
Because of me.
Precisely.
Then what do they do? Like you said, the gene lives in them, but they're not a vampire. Are they still human?
As far as I know, yes, but you're still connected. They feel happy. You feel happy. They feel pain. You feel pain. A bonded pair is like your heart in human form. They die. Part of you dies along with them.
I see. So it is real.
As real as any of us.
Is there anything that can sever the bond?
You want to?
No, it's purely academic at this point.
From what I know, the only things that break a bond is death of either person, which includes being turned. The body needs to die for the vampiric essence in your blood to activate and restore itself.
So, a bond is destined to die either way.
Yes. So make the most of the time you have. Well, I think my work here is done. I'll send a courier over for payment.
Of course. Thank you for traveling all the way here.
It only confirmed my research. It was a pleasure. I must warn you, do not take the bond lightly.
Why? Because we're destined for each other?
Vampires are lonely creatures by design. You must first interfere. When you find the person who completes us, there is no real test for it. If that person slips, goes up timber, no clue to pain. Nothing.
You've looked on yourself.
3.
3?
If I wasn't the soul, I would have left this world with the last. The dream that one day I can feel that completeness again. If only for a moment. But nothing can compare to that kind of love.
I'll keep that in mind.
Be sure to. These vampires wither away when their bond is severed. Yes, burns to ash.
Weak, I imagine.
If you ever experience it, which I rarely don't, I hope it haunts you.
Travel safe
Keep the end safe.
until my last breath.
She was pleasant. Of course I'm being sarcastic. She sounded condescending to me, like I was beneath her. I know she has many years more experience than I do. Doesn't mean I like being talked down to. No, you're correct. She's in her right to. It's uncommon meeting a vampire who's over 1,000 years old, but 2,500 years? I never thought I'd live long enough to see the day. From rumors, they only interact when it's in their interest. I didn't think one would be actively researching into the bond, so I'd say we got lucky. Money isn't good enough for payment anymore. Not for us, at least. Our payments are more priceless. It can be rare commodities, relics, or information. I'm giving her a lost treasure called the Three Brothers. It's a piece of jewelry that dates back hundreds of years, but 1645 was the last time it had ever been recorded. It was part of the English crown jewels, but after that it vanished completely. I didn't steal them, I acquired them. I'm quite the collector. But when you have enough money, you start wanting other things that are hard to come by. It's the way of the supernatural world. If they're not lost to Mother Nature, they're most likely with someone who's lived far longer than you have. Nothing's wrong, love. I just... I never wanted this. I never planned to bind myself to someone. It's in my nature to flit from one community to the next without laying down any sort of foundation to keep me there. I have to move so my identity isn't found. It's an unspoken duty for all of my kind to not expose what we are. The bond was only a rumor, one that I didn't put any stock into. It sounded ridiculous because I couldn't fathom needing someone as much as they described. I've had people I cared about over the years, of course, but I know to my core that you are different. I don't know what the future will bring, what challenges we'll face. You are human. You're destined to grow old. You heard, Isis. If you turn, the bond will be severed. What makes you think I want that? I'll admit I'm not a fan of it. Because I never wanted to be tethered to anyone. I haven't been for a long time. Everyone I knew from my generation is dead. I am the only Claiborne left, unable to further my lineage because of what I am. I accepted solitude long ago. I'm at an age where human lives are fleeting compared to mine. And yes, I could turn someone I love to spend that eternity together, but I have yet to find them. You are the only one that has come close. The irony doesn't elude me. Don't you understand? You are now my weakness. If people discover I have a bond with someone, the only way they'll get to me is through you. I've been cautious about who I make enemies with, and though the number is fewer than most, they're still a threat. Sooner or later, they will come for you. They never did anything before because they know I'll defeat them. And they can't kidnap anyone for ransom. I don't care about anyone. Well, until now. And you're human, too. If Isis' theory is correct, I can assume no one will be able to compel you unless they're stronger than me. But that only means they'll use other methods to get to you. You don't know who may be coming for you. I know them. They're all killers or hunters of some kind. Mercy isn't in their vocabulary. It might be time to call in some favors. To make sure you're well protected. Don't get me wrong, I like your confidence in being able to defend yourself. It's what made me intrigued by you when we first met. You didn't hesitate to kill me. But this is different, and it's also my expertise. I don't just deal with vampires. Other, more malicious creatures that lurk in the dark want my head. Many don't like being bested or knocked down a peg or two. I don't make enemies unless there's a conflict of interest. And if I win, they will remember. What else can immortal beings do, other than hold grudges that last an age? Someone will let it slip that I inquired about the bond. Though I have a large network, the people I contact have webs of their own. All it takes is one person to mention my name, and the news will spread to the wrong people. Which means that now it's only a matter of time. And when that time comes, I will be prepared. Afraid? For me, no. My mind right now is focused on nothing but keeping you safe. If Isis is right in everything she said today, then this bond is much deeper than connection. I think, in simple terms, you're an extension of me. But I'm not protecting you to avoid my own pain. Believe me when I say that. Believe I will fight for you to live a long, long life, no matter what it takes. This is more than your blood, your lips. You are mine, and I'm yours, for however long forever lasts for us. I said, I'm not a violent person, but if they lay a hand on you, they will witness how ferocious I can be. Today's been a long day. When will you sleep? Good idea. I'll be upstairs soon. I want to check a few things before I join you. I'm not letting you sleep alone. Go on. I won't be long.
Do you have any years listening in? Good. Are you still in England? Listen, I may need a favor from you soon. If you already heard about the Elder, then I may need that favor sooner than expected. Keep a sharp ear on your contacts. Anything to do with vampire elders and a bond I might possess,